So, we've all been there before at some point or another. Maybe you're a dungeon master and a player at your table asks you an intriguing question that you really want to give a good and accurate answer to, but you're just not sure exactly how something works, so you have to look it up. And the game stalls. Maybe you're a player and you have this really cool idea, but it's an ability or spell that you don't use often enough that you know it off the top of your head, and you scour through your player's sheet and what you have written down just isn't quite doing the trick. In either case, the game kind of stalls for a moment because somebody has to look something up in the books. Now, maybe that doesn't bother you at all. Maybe that bothers you much more than it should. And in all likelihood, you probably fall somewhere in between on this. So in this video, I've got a handful of tricks that I use that help keep my games moving a little faster, at least as far as I'm involved in, and I wanted to share them with you because no matter how well you know the rules or how well you prepare, the unexpected happens. So, we're going to help you out with that. Before we dive into today's topic, if you're unfamiliar with J&J Tabletop, I just want to tell you that my name is Jake, and normally Josh is with me, and we also have some other friends that you'll see on this channel. And at the heart of everything is we want to help you get the most out of your Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop role-playing games. So if that interests you, go ahead down, hit the subscribe button, the bell, get all the notifications, and we also have a library of content that's fully available right now for you to enjoy. Okay, so we're going to start off with some tips if you're using paper and all sorts of like original, we'll call it classic ways of playing Dungeons and Dragons. The very first tip I have here is write legibly, neatly. Good penmanship actually goes a long way. If you are looking at your character sheet trying to figure out what it is you actually wrote down, that's just making life harder for you, right? I mean, some of us may have great penmanship and this just goes right over your head, and some of us may have learned how to write from some kind of like wild animal doctor that just puts like their paw print on a prescription that you have to pick up for medicine. So, yeah, write neatly. So, the next tip I want to give for people that use a paper character sheet is to use summary statements for what your spells and abilities can do. There's not a lot of space on these character sheets, and writing down like word for word what everything does, it's kind of impossible. So I will write down a quick little summary of what something does, and then I will write the page number and the book in which that spell or feature or weapon, whatever it is, can be found. This way, if I have to look something up, I know exactly where to go for it. And if you're not all that concerned with the condition that your books are in, you could put a little tab next to that page number so that you could go right to it. You could even dog ear the page, I guess. I don't know. That's not something I would do. I'm probably on the more neurotic side of things, so I probably need to loosen up a little bit once in a while. But either way, there's a lot of very small tricks that can help keep things moving along if the need should arise. And the last paper trick that I want to give to you today is index cards. This is great for players and DMs. Maybe you're a player and when your wizard casts shield, you want to know exactly what it does. So you write it on an index card, and that is your shield index card. You might want to write the page number on that too, but you might write word for word so that it's just right there in your hand. It gives you like more of a tactile feel to it. And if you're a dungeon master, I kind of really recommend this for like your NPCs. I know we have a video on that you could check out where Josh and I talk about a few tips there, but you could write down personality traits, flaws, ideals, bonds, maybe anything of significance that may have happened in the relationship between your players and that NPC, maybe some goals that they have. Whatever it is, it's really helpful if your players go back and talk to that person that you never thought they were going to talk to again, but it happened like 6 months ago, real time. So you're like, crap, what did I do for that? So, yeah, index cards can be a very big help. Now, on to electronic tips. So, first and foremost, this is not a sponsored video. So, when I talk about D&D Beyond, Fight Club 5, and Game Master 5, they haven't given us a dime, though if someone from those companies wants to, go ahead. Let us know in the comment section or maybe hit us up at JNJtabletop and we can talk. Since 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons is the most popular option these days, let's start with D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond is a fantastic tool. It's a website that lets you store your character sheets, your character info, look up spells, monsters, whatever you might be interested in. If it's in D&D 5e, it's there. So the trick is, how do you get the information you need and get it quickly? Well, at the top of the page, there's a search bar that if you know how to search for things, it makes your life a lot easier. So let's take the following example. Let's say that you're a player in a game and you're in the middle of combat, and for whatever the case may be, there's just no obvious use for your action during your turn. You're not going to attack something, you're not going to cast a spell, and then you remember that there is a list of actions available to you pretty much designed for this exact case, but you're not exactly sure what they are. So the trick to using a search engine is to try and be specific with what it is you're actually looking for. So many people may type in help with combat here, but as you can see, the results just really aren't all that helpful, and there's a lot better way to go about doing this. So since you know that you need combat actions, because that's the terminology used in the game, if you type that into the search bar, the results you get are much more relevant and actually is exactly what you need. And as you can see when you scroll through things here, you have cast a spell, dash, disengage, everything that you might need. Maybe we're going to check out the hide action here. And that's exactly how you go about using this feature and using it well. I think I need to update my resume and write in something like good at Googling. It's actually a useful skill. Speaking of Google, I actually use Google Docs and Google Sheets a lot as far as keeping myself on track. When I'm a dungeon master, Google Sheets is basically like an Excel sheet, and I keep track of like initiative, monster HP, player stats like their armor class or hit points, whatever I think is important at the time, and I highly recommend that. And as far as Google Docs goes, you can keep like your character's thoughts, diary, things that have happened in the past, whatever it is. And if you need to find something quickly, just do Control F and type in the word that you're looking for, and you'll get right to it. It's actually very useful to find things quickly. Another thing that's going to be really helpful to you is if you don't want to say pay money to D&D Beyond for like a subscription service, or you don't want to buy the books again electronically if you already have them physically, are the Lion's Den apps called Fight Club 5 and Game Master 5. What's great about these apps is that they can sync up from your phone or tablet and are great for when you think of something awesome for your game, but you're not near your notes and don't want to forget. You can organize your information however you'd like, create entire campaigns, chapters, store images, NPCs, locations, notes, whatever it is. You can even store encounters and things like that, but the only thing here is that you will need to import an XML file to have proper access to correct information. But this is still a great way to stay organized and have a ton of information ready to go at a moment's notice. So those are just a few tricks that I use to help me stay more on top of things in my games. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up because it helps Al Gore stay in rhythm. And if you're watching this and you have some ideas that help you stay on top of things in your games that I didn't mention, or maybe a different take on something I said, go ahead and head down to the comment section and share it, because it could help me, it could help someone else reading it, it could just help make the world a better place when it comes to D&D and tabletop role-playing games. Anyways, again, I'm Jake from JNJtabletop. Hit the subscribe button, and I'm about to suggest some videos that you probably should take a look at. Okay, so if you're about to play your first game of Dungeons & Dragons and you're not entirely sure what to expect, go ahead and click on this video here. And if you just want to learn some other basic concepts, there's a Let's Learn playlist filled with a whole bunch of tips that's going to help you get started. Take care.